Ah, there I am. Good morning. Sorry I'm a little late this morning. Technical difficulties, that's how it goes when you're dealing with computers and all the new gadgets that come up and go forward. So, want to thank you for joining me. My name is David W. Coleman. We have these dynamic power page hangouts every 2 weeks, twice a month, to talk a little bit about dynamic power pages and get you involved in some of the things that I'm doing here in the South, Little Rock, across the country, Los Angeles, Atlanta, so on and so forth. If you don't know who I am founding president of I Love My Children Too. It's a father's rights organization, and also the CEO of Chan Bear and Associates LLC, and that encompasses a lot of things. If you want more information about Chan Bear and Associates, please go out to davidwcoleman.net, and you can get plenty of information on all of the things that I do. As a matter of fact, the landing page that you get to on davidwcoleman.net, all you got to do is click on one of the windows, and it'll take you wherever you want to go as it relates to some of the entities that I control. Now, a lot of things to talk about today. I keep having these because I want people to really get involved in dynamic power pages. Now, one of the things that I want to make sure you understand is some of the things that we've got coming up. All right. So most importantly, I want to start off by inviting you to go out to a fathersfamilyaffair.com. And as a matter of fact, if I can, I'm going to share my screen with you and let you see the website, at least the landing page for the website, so you can get an idea of what that's all about. So give me just a moment here and I'll get the screen shared, and you can look at it, and I'll give you a few little details on what all we're doing with that. So let's click that, and we want to share that, and we'll go from there. Okay, so you should be seeing the logo, A Father's Family Affair. It's June 13th. It's the day before Father's Day at Philander Smith College. There are a couple of things that we're trying to do here. We're obviously trying to raise some money for a nonprofit organization called Part of the Solution. You can check that out. And also, hopefully, we'll raise enough money where we can supply a scholarship for a young father, or maybe two young fathers. We are really behind on donations. Please, by all means, go out, tell a friend, tell your fraternities, tell your church, tell your men's organizations. Come on out, get involved. Let's have something positive going on for fathers. We all hear the negativity. We hear all the negative things. But statistics tell us that fathers, particularly African-American fathers, are doing a great job with their children. They just don't get the information that they need and the support that they need. So this is the beginning. Now, we'll have this year and hopefully next year and years to come. So I want you to make sure you understand that, and we can move forward with a Father's Family Affair. Okay, so I wanted you to check that out just to be just so you understand what we're trying to get accomplished. Again, that's June 13th. There are vendors. If you're a vendor, you're a craft vendor, you're a food vendor, it's only $100. We have a deadline of April 30th. We really need to get an idea of how many vendors that we're going to have. This is going to be an outdoor event. It's going to be on the lawn of Philander Smith College. So you come on out and support the event, and we're looking forward to that as well. Now, let's go ahead and jump into dynamic power pages. Now, I'm only going to keep you about 35 minutes because I know it's late. We got started a little late, but we will keep the 30 to 35 minute window for you. I want to let me just share my screen one more time, and we'll go out to dynamic power pages because there are a couple of things. And by the way, the live event is going on right now. So if you go to dynamicpowerpages.com, you should be able to see the live event. And if you've been out there, if you'll simply refresh the page, it should come up, and I'll show you all of that here in just a moment once it becomes available. I just re-uploaded the site, So just give it a moment. Make sure you refresh it. If it doesn't look right, refresh it a couple of times. Then you can go from there. When you go out to the page, now the live event is going on right now. If you click it, and let me just go ahead and share my screen with you again. By the way, if you're not on Google, if you don't have a Gmail, well, if you have a Gmail account, then you have Google. And if you're not using Google Plus, I'm doing all this via Google Plus. All right. Very, very powerful tool for seminars, for nonprofit organizations, for instructors. I'll be doing more of this coming up. I will tell you that we are going to do a grant writer seminar, and I want to open that up and show that to you also here in just a moment. We got a lot of housekeeping things to do today, so I apologize. So we'll get into dynamic power pages here in about 60 seconds. But I do want to show you a little bit about the grant writing seminar. Now, I will be honest with you. This is not a free seminar. There will be a limited amount of people who can come to this seminar. It will be online. I can get 10 people into Google Plus, where you all can come in, ask questions, and enjoy the seminar. And it'll be a one-on-one. We're going to do it 2 Saturdays in a row. And I'm still trying to decide when we're going to launch this. But and there is a cost for it. It'll probably be anywhere from $89 to $99 for the seminar. Once the seminar is complete, we'll do follow-up. So if you have any questions, so there will be 3 Saturdays that we'll do part 1 and part 2 of the seminar, and then we'll turn around and do a follow-up for any questions that you may have. And also, you'll be able to ask questions while we're online as well. So what I want to do here, I'm just going to quickly, and you don't see it yet, but it'll be coming up here in just a moment. You will see the grant writing seminar that we have launched here, if we can get it up and running. My bandwidth seems to be going crazy here, but we'll get that launched here and see how it works. It takes a minute to load. But again, pay attention, because we will list the schedule of events on dynamicpowerpages.com. That's going to be the primary place where I go. Okay, so let's see here if we can. I'm gonna need to share my screen with you so you can see these. Let's see, we need to close that. Sorry about the technical difficulties here. Let's see, we'll just end the show, and I'm going to share my screen with you, and I'll pop this up here in just a moment so you can see what I'm doing. All right. By the way, let's see, let's do that. And this will be the presentation, or the beginning of the presentation, that we're going to do once we get started. So I'm sharing my screen now, and you should be able to see that, and we'll share that. So what this is the introduction to the Grants and Federal Assistance Seminar. This actually used to be a CD-ROM. I decided that the CD-ROM, let's be honest, I was sending the CD-ROM and people were copying my CD-ROM, although there were some copyright things on it, but they were still able to break the software or break the security. So now I just do it online, okay? And this just gives you a little information about me, tells you about my book. By the way, yeah, I am an author. A couple other things that I do, and I do a teenage survival kit. I am a motivational speaker. So if you have someone, or you need someone to come out and speak to your group, your youth, your men, whatever the case may be, I will be glad to do that. You can call me 615-554-0568, and I'll give you all the information. So what this is, it just tells you a little bit. And the goals for the grant writing seminars: we'll destroy the myths of grant writing. We'll also, let's see, information about the grant funding cycle, locating and utilizing foundations, developing a web presence, and that's part of what Dynamic Power Pages is all about, and basic proposal writing tips. Now, the proposal writing tips, we'll talk a lot about how to construct your proposal, what to put in it, what not to put in it. And it goes into detail. And I'm going to go to one more slide so I can give you an idea, because the first section talks about where to find the money. Then the second section goes into really developing your proposal. Now, a lot of people try to make it as if it's really difficult. It really isn't if you do what we talk about in this seminar. I've been doing this seminar now. I think I started about 2001. I stopped for a little while, so I'm back to doing it now. And people love it. It's been great. So this slide here talks about writing the proposal, and I want to go to this is talking about choosing the marketplace, where you're going to attack, researching the marketplace. So as you can see, this is, let's put it this way, this is a 60 slide seminar. All right. So it's pretty in depth, and I've written it because I wanted it in depth. And most people who spend $300, $400, $500 to go to grant writing seminars, when they come to this seminar and they only spend $99, they say, "Wow, I got more. Excuse me, I got more out of your seminar than I got out of the seminar that I paid $500 for." And that's because it's a little bit more in depth and it's one-on-one. So, you know, it talks about the need statements, all the things, the typical proposal writing sequence. And then, of course, we go into, for instance, this is a cover letter. Well, I'll teach you how to write a cover letter. You know, we talk about the title page, what should be on it. We talk about the summary, what should be in it, how to write a summary. We talk about the introduction, all of those things that are important to you getting your grant in the APAL. You know, this is just the first steps. You've got to get the grant in the APAL first, and that starts by following the basic directions that the grantors want you to follow. So coming up, stay tuned. We will be doing a grant writing seminar coming up. Probably will start here in the next couple of weeks. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Okay. So I just wanted to show you that. And so you'll get an idea of what we're doing, what Coleman's Dynamic, what Chamber and Associates is doing, along with some of my other entities. Okay. So one other thing I want to talk about, and let's go ahead and get into Dynamic Power Pages. Let me tell you why I started Dynamic Power Pages. Now, I wanted to develop a database of businesses, particularly African-American businesses and small businesses, where people could go and get information about their business. Now, I know a lot of people say, hey, well, somebody's already doing that. Well, are they really? I know there are Black Yellow Pages out there. I know there are people who have done recruiting and doing different things, but I don't know that there is truly I don't know that there is truly a place where people can go and get information about their businesses. And nowadays, with websites being so expensive, a lot of small businesses can afford to get a website. So what I do is I help you get that website. All right. That's very important for you to be able to do that. So that's what Dynamic Power Pages is all about. And this is just not set up just for Memphis or Nashville or Little Rock. We hope, as we build this process, that we're going to have satellite Power Page events in cities across the country. That is ultimately my goal. All right, to have cities across the country, from Atlanta to New York to Los Angeles. And by the way, let me give a shout out to my good friend and Detroit Harris, and my other good friend, Dr. Rosie Milligan, who are currently, normally this time of the year, I'm in Los Angeles. I'm at Black Writers on Tour. Things didn't work out this year, but Hansel Harris is out there selling Coleman's Dynamic Rib Rub and her products. Hansel's Cooking Vegan. By the way, if you go to the portfolio page on Dynamic Power Pages, Hansel's Cooking Vegan is on there. So she has a great story of how she changed her life, and her theme is change your life to change your diet. So I wanted to give a shout out to them. Good luck today. I know it's going to be packed in Los Angeles. I hate I'm not going to be there with you, but I love both of you all, and we'll see you next year. That's for sure. All right. But Hansel is on this page as well. And one of the things I want to do is get into, and someone posted this, a good friend of mine, Jason, I'll just call him Jason. He posted this on my wall the other day, and I thought it was fantastic, because one of the problems that we have in the Black community is supporting Black businesses. I, as a Black business owner, go through this every time I'm out advertising and doing my product. I get some of the stupidest and dumb questions from Black patrons. I'm just going to be honest with you. I got to be real. Some of the dumbest questions that I've ever heard as it relates to my products. So I wanted to develop, and I post. This is now on Dynamic Power pages. It's called Black Patrons Creed. All right. And I think we need to start adhering to this as Black patrons, because how many times, if you're a Black business owner and you're listening right now, how many times have you actually been selling your product and someone comes up and asks you, do you have insurance? Or is it like a white a white business owner? Just dumb questions that is really insulting. So if you are a Black patron, a Black consumer, and you're dealing with Black businesses, we work just as hard as white businesses. We insure our products. We have to have the same licensing and all the other things that white businesses have. So please, please stop asking those questions. It makes no sense whatsoever for you to continue to do that. But I'm going to share the screen one more time. And what we're going to do is go over this. And if you're out on Dynamic Power pages on the main page, you can see this for yourself. Is the Black Patrons Creed. And I hope many people will follow this and take it to heart. You should be able to see the screen now over here to the left, and don't get confused about the image of me right now. That is actually the live feed. I told you this is a powerful tool. So here's what I've done. This is actually a YouTube stream. And when I build websites for you, and I get you into my consulting, I teach you all about this. I teach you about Google Plus. I teach you about Google Analytics. I teach you how to set up live streams. Now, what I could do is have you to go to YouTube and do this, but I don't, because it's important for me to get the hits on my page. So, for instance, every time you send someone to YouTube, YouTube are getting the hits. And if you got a website, that doesn't benefit you at all when it comes to Google, because Google is more so about how much content and people are hitting your page, as opposed to now, as opposed to where it was just where you are. So you want to rank up, then you want to get a lot of content going into your page. So everything I do now is going to be streamed into my page. Okay. Everything I do will be streamed into my page. You know, my sports show, now that we're going to be streaming that live, as well as any live hangouts for Dynamic Power pages will be streamed. So you can always go to this page. It'll always be on the main page right here, and you can check it out. So over to the right here, you've got the Black Patrons Creed. Pretty simple. I know it may sound a little sophomorish, but I think it needs to be said, and that's why I'm doing this. All right. First of all, it says, I will pay your worth and not ask for a discount. All right, everybody say amen, lights. Okay? Because I'm going to tell you, I can't count the number of times that people, when I've been out at markets selling Coleman's Dynamic products, that people come up to me and they'll ask me how much my product is. And I'm going to be frank with you. I'm talking about Black patrons. All right? The white patrons come up. They understand I'm a businessman. I'm selling my products. The first thing they do is they say, how much is it? Tell them the price. If they either want it, if they don't, then they move on. If they want it, they pay the price. Black patrons are always, and this is not all of them, but a lot of them are trying to bargain you down from your price, not understanding what you've had to go through to get your price to your product to the market, and all that encompasses that. That price, all that stuff is built into the price. So if my product is $5, which my rib rub is $5, and you say, well, I'll give you $3, that's an insult to me as a business owner. All right. So please stop that. All right. The next thing, and I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my page here, because you understand that if you're on Dynamic Power pages, you can see what I am talking about. Let's stop sharing that. So we can go back to the main screen and you'll be able to see me. The other thing, the other Black Patrons Creed is, I will complement your quality services products by referring others. In other words, and this is a funny story. So I've got a friend, he's African American. He buys my product. He's in Nashville, Tennessee. He buys my product, and he came to, and I used to do the flea market once a month at the fairgrounds, and he'd come out and he'd buy up my product. And I said, hey man, please go out and support my product and tell some friends. And he looks at me and said, man, I'm not telling anybody about your product. I said, what are you talking about? He says, look, I have barbecues. They come over. They always trying to figure out what I'm using. So I don't tell them. And you know what? I understand that, but come on, dude. I'm a small business owner. I need as many people as possible to know about my product. So if you're not telling them, then how will they know? It's not going to take away from what you're doing. So please, again, I will compliment your quality services, products by referring others. That's how I stay alive. I need references. You know, I go out on Facebook all the time, and many of the people on Facebook have purchased the product. But if they just keep liking and liking and liking, I never get any new clients. I need new clients, and that can be done by you making those necessary referrals. Okay. The next one is, I will not question your integrity practices if I don't question others. That's what I was just talking about. You know, quite often some African Americans will come up to me and say, hey, look, you got insurance? Hey, how you building your product? You know, are you licensed? Are you bonded? Or whatever the case may be. Of course I'm licensed. I have to be, okay? Yes, I do have insurance. I have to have it, all right? So stop it, stop. That's just silly. I will not complain to others without giving you an opportunity to remedy. Now, what that means is, let's say, and we do this all the time. This is really, really bad. We'll go out to an African-American business. You don't get the service that you necessarily should get. All right. Instead of you going to the manager or the owner and saying, hey, look, I was expecting this, I got that. And letting that owner say, hey, look, I apologize. That's not how we do business. How can I solve the problem for you? First thing you do, you get on the phone, you calling your girlfriend, or you calling somebody else. Girl, I went to so-and-so, and his business was just terrible. Come on, folks. That's not how, you know, give me a chance, or give that business owner a chance to remedy the problem. Most responsible business owners, they'll be glad to fix the problem. Now, let me tell you, if that business owner doesn't want to fix the problem, then you go tell your girlfriend and kick them to the curb. All right? I will not complain to others without giving you an opportunity. Oh, we did that one. I will support you first, because your services and products are equal to others. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. If I'm an African-American business struggling, and if I got the same product as a white business, why not support me? Oh, I know what you're saying. You said, oh, that's racist. No, it isn't. Let me ask you a question. How many times have you heard the federal government have a Buy American campaign? They've been telling you, don't buy Chinese, don't buy European goods, buy American. Is that racist that people tell you to buy American? Well, even more so, if you go to in America, if you go to a Chinese business, guess who's working in a Chinese business? And I tell this story all the time. I was in Los Angeles for 3 weeks back in November. A friend of mine toured. We went through all the ethnic enclaves. I was looking for ghost peppers, and every ethnic enclave, every ethnic store that I went into, whether it was Indian, whether it was Hispanic, whether it was Chinese, whether it was Japanese, whatever the case was, all of those people had their people buying their products. I mean, there was bustling communities. If we want to save our community, we first have to put eyes on our dollars and make sure that those monies are staying in our communities before it leaves. There's nothing wrong with that. All right. Every community does it but us. That's why we suffer in our community. We could support our own schools. We could support our own businesses, all kinds of things if we simply kept that money in the neighborhood. Last but not least, I will encourage my friends and family to support you regularly. In other words, go tell someone. Don't be like my friend in Nashville because he's got a secret and how he uses my rub. that he won't tell anybody else. That doesn't help me. The money that he was spending with me, $20 a month, I really appreciated it, but I need to get those sales up, and we do that by spreading the word and telling people about my product. Okay, so that's the Black Patrons Creed, and that creed can actually go to anyone. All right, now the other thing is, one of the things that if you join Dynamic Power Pages today, and I didn't look, and again, this is going to be pre-recorded, and I know a lot of people join, some people don't join, and let me just look. If someone is on now, we're going to give away a free website here in just a little bit. We've got one viewer, but what I'm going to do, we're going to give you a free website, and what that website is going to do, I'm going to build it. I'm going to optimize it with the search engine optimization. I'm going to give you information on how you can get set up on Google+. I'm also going to give you information on how you can get set up on MailChimp, because MailChimp is a free email service that is very powerful and growing, and I use it all the time. If you got this correspondence, it came from MailChimp. Easy to use, pretty simple, and you can use it over and over again, and I think you'll love it. So we're going to give out a free website. I just want to make sure that everyone is making sure that they are going out to the website and participating. Let's see. We talked a little bit about how Dynamic Power Pages was different from others. Today through, let's see, for the next week, if you set up a Dynamic Power Page, it's typically $125 for a year. I set up your power page. I do all the things you need done as it relates to taking pictures. If you don't have logos, we'll help you set up logos. There will be a few extra costs for doing the design for logos and things of that nature. But you'll have a power page that is on Dynamic Power Pages. And then somewhere, maybe the next month, 2 months, you might decide to say, okay, I like my power page, but now I'm ready to do a website. So the $125 that you gave me to set up your power page, I will then incorporate that into the fees of building your website. That is, if you allow me to build your website. Now, you're more than welcome to go out and get anyone you want to build your website, but I'm going to charge you $500 or whatever the cost that we agree on to build your website. And then if you set up a Dynamic Power Page, I will deduct the amount of money that you initially set up. So in this case, if you get this special this week of $75, then when you come back 2-3 months down the road and say, okay, I want a website, then I'll deduct $75. Okay, whatever amount, which caps out at $125 for power pages. That's how much you'll get deducted on your website when you decide to let me build it. Okay, and you've seen my websites. They're pretty nice. They're static websites. They get the job done, and I get tons and tons of hits. If you were on a couple of weeks ago, you got to see me do the Google Plus, the Google Analytics. I'll tell you a little bit about that and how I'm even using it now to target certain pages on my websites to get people to purchase. Okay. Again, the cost is $75 beginning today through Friday at midnight. And I'm going to post, and I'll be sending out some information via the web as well, so you can see that it is a pretty good price. So if you sign up today through next week, $75, save yourself some money. All right. So again, I want to thank you for joining me. We'll be doing this, like I said, twice a month. I will also let you know when we get ready to do the grants and federal assistance seminar. The other thing is, please go out to afathersfamilyaffair.com, make a donation. Help us create a scholarship for a young African-American father. All right. African-American fathers get no love. All right. And then if he's out there going to school, he's got a child, Lord knows he needs support because he's probably being hit with child support, all those things. And it's a struggle. And quite often, that's why when you go to these colleges, you see more African-American women than you see African-American men. All right. And then what that occurs is you find women who are getting master's degrees and doctorates, and men are not getting those. And a lot of times, unfortunately, women will say, well, I can't meet anyone that's my worth. You know, I got a master's degree and I'm doing this, and this. And he just graduated high school. Well, Part of that is that he probably made some wrong choices. So those young men who made some bad choices, we want to try to make sure that we keep them in school and we want to get them degreed. All right. So what we want to do is set up a scholarship every year for a young African American father at Philander Smith College. So hopefully we can pull that off. Wow, I said a lot. I know I took more time than I normally do. I said it would be 30 minutes, but we got started a little late. But we're still on time. I'm probably about 1 to 2 minutes over, which is cool. This video will be available on Dynamic Power Pages for the rest of the week. All right. So you can go out and view it yourself. Any information that you have, any information that you need, please, by all means, call me. Let me help you out. Let me help you build your business. We've got a lot of other things coming. We've got some testimonials that I'm going to set up and do. I've told a lot of people, and I'm going to tell you the story, then I'll let you go. One of the things I tell people about building a website, and there are certainly a lot of companies out there that'll do it for you, but is it worth the money that you're going to spend? And nowadays, building websites is so inexpensive. You spending $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 over a certain period of time, it's just not cost effective. And certainly it isn't if you are a business owner. So here's what I usually recommend for people when I'll just give you one. Wix is one that advertises, does great work. I've been out on their website. I've done some work on their website. Oh, it's great. It's easy. But here's the problem with Wix. Let's say, for instance, you decide to sign up for Wix, depending on which package you choose. And let's pick a cheap one. And this is just the top of my head, $30 a month. All right. Wix will allow you build your domain name, set up email, sell products, do all those things that you can do on your own website, right? For $30 a month. Okay, so over a 10-month period, that's $300. Okay. Over a 12-month period, that's $360. Over a 2-year period, you've said let's see, that's close to $720 for 2 years on your website. For 2 years on your website. And you're saying, well, that's not a lot of money, but then they nickel and dime you with other things. And I'm telling you this because I've been on the site and I've talked to people who've used the site. So by the time, if you go through a 5-year period, let's give you an example. If you're in business, typically you're going to stay in for 5 years. My website, Coleman's Dynamic Products, has been up for almost over 5 years now. All right. So let's say Wix was doing that website. Wow. Can you see you spent thousands of dollars to be on Wix? Now, what's the alternative? Why not go out to GoDaddy? And this is what I teach people to do. Go out to GoDaddy, reserve your own domain name, get it set up, let me build your website for a minimum amount, a one-time charge. And then if you are website savvy, I'll tell you the software that I use. I'll have you to purchase. I make no money off of it. Okay. And then I will teach you how to use that software. So anytime you need to do updates, because I forgot to tell you, when you're doing Wix, you have to get a web admin. So if you want to change some stuff, if you don't know how to do it, you got to pay someone to do it. That could be thousands and thousands of dollars, folks. You as a small business can afford that. I know I can't. So I build my own and it works. So what I do as part of my business portfolio is I help you build your own websites and I help you maintain it. Can't beat that with a stick. You just can't. All right. Now, you can go out and get Wix all you want. That's fine. It may be convenient for you, but if you extrapolate the money that you're going to spend over a long term, it's going to cost you. All right. And certainly if you're not a business person, maybe you're an artist and you just want to get a footprint on the web where you're not selling any products, but you're still kicking out $30 a month to Wix. That could be cost prohibitive because you're not technically bringing in. The whole purpose of the website is to bring money in, to tell people. That's why when you go to my page, when you go to Dynamic Power Pages, or when you go to Coleman's Dynamic Products, the first thing you need to do is, the first thing you see is a way to buy your products, to buy my products, because I make money off of my products. So I want people to go to those sites and buy those products. By the way, last but not least, it's summertime. Coleman's Dynamic Products needs to be purchased. If you're doing a barbecue, if you're doing some grilling, you're doing some baking, some rotisserie chicken, you want to do some snacks, hey, check it out. Pretty soon I'm going to post a video that I did on making potato chips on Coleman's Dynamic Products. So check that out. Just go out and click on the multimedia. I'll get that up today. All right. But look, I'm done. I've had fun. We'll do this again in 2 weeks. Make sure you check your email and pay attention to when we're going to start the grant writing seminar. All right. Again, only 10 people can be in this live broadcast. Now, multiple people can view it. But when we do the grant writing seminar, I break it down, and they only allow you to have 10 people in there to do those live seminars. All right. So be aware of that. Hey, thanks for joining me once again. I'm David W. Coleman. Thank you for listening. You've been listening to Dynamic Power Pages live hangout. We do it every 2 weeks. We'll be back in 2 weeks with more great information. And hopefully, don't forget, this week only, you can get a Dynamic Power Page for $75. That's only good this week. $75, folks. Check it out. Great talking to you. Enjoyed it as usual. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.